For the past few years, I had the opportunity to interview several designers, and to my surprise, I have encountered that many of them are missing some of the basics of design. So today, I'm gonna share a few tips that could make the difference between getting hired or not. I always start any design with the grid. The grid to me is one of the basic elements on design. My favorite grid is 6 columns. I found that gives me the most options to create or to composite the page. It gives me the options of 6 columns. They're a little bit narrow, but I use them for small thumbnails or for footers. It gives me the option of 2 big columns, and it gives me the option of 3 big columns. So to me, it's a good combination for a page. Baseline is an important element. It is used mostly on print, and it's very tricky to play with. I only use it when I'm making publications that have a lot of text. I always think about all the different elements that I'm gonna put on that page. I try to define the titles, subtitles, sometimes what I call secondary subtitles. I define as well the first paragraph as well as the body copy and other intrusions that can create what is called a syncopation that break the rhythm of the page. The total amount of vertical space used by each of these elements should be an even multiple of the basic leading. For instance, if I start working on a text that is 11 points and 13 for leading, I always try to create a spacing between paragraphs or a spacing between the titles and the body copy that are multiple of 26, 39, 52. This is quite challenging and it takes a while. It requires a little bit of math, which I am not very good. So most of the things, I just make them visually. I just look at it on the page and what it feels correct. Now we are going to talk about widows and orphans. A widow is a very short line at the end of a paragraph or a column. A widow is considered poor typography because it leaves too much white space between paragraphs or at the bottom of the page. Like a widow, an orphan is a single word, part of a word or a very short line, except it appears at the beginning of a column or a page. So one of the things that you can do to avoid these widows is playing with the kerning. I usually start selecting the whole paragraph and start reducing the kerning little by little. It's advised to never reduce the kerning more than 3 points or expand the kerning more than 3 points. You can start trying kerning just a couple of lines and see if that works. And if it doesn't work, you try to kern the whole paragraph. I try to avoid white spaces. When you have the copy aligned to the left, sometimes where the paragraph or where the line cuts, it leaves a big white space. I fix some of these just with the same system, which is I select that line and I give it a little bit of kerning. And finally, I look at how the words cut, and I use a soft return to solve some of those white spaces. And this problem with the spacing happens as well on the web. True, we don't have as much control as we have on print, but still these rules should apply. I have seen plenty of websites where the margin at the top and at the bottom of a title hasn't been worked out. And of course, we have plenty of good examples. Look at this article, how great the designer has accomplished what we were just talking about, how he left more space between the titles and the top paragraph and less space between the title and the bottom paragraph.